Hello Gemini. Let's see if this is working out. It is. So this is going to be your Is Your Ex Coming Back reading for October and November. So if you guys do not want your ex to come back, just move on. Wait the next week till I have the reading there for the next week. Okay? So it's going to be monthly. This is only for the people who feel a specific energy. It's also for the people who have Gemini, their planets in Gemini, especially Moon, Venus, Mercury, and Ascendant. You have like Nine of Wands that jumped out. And Nine of Wands is to me talking about that you've been through thick and thin, that you're still standing, but you're really not sure for how much longer you will be able to stand and how much longer you really want to be around, kind of like sort of thing. But Nine of Wands card always indicates, I really want to continue. I really want to kind of like deal with this, right? I want to see that through. I want to see where this is going. So Gemini, these cards that you see on the table are significators. Significators mean they're like certain categories that they really need to address, to access in order to kind of like see the bigger picture and kind of like give you a quality, let's say, verdict. I'm going to give you a really brief explanation. The full explanation is my website, cattarot.ca. And if you want a full reading, please contact me via cattarot.ca, also below. Oh, this is not Aries. This would be actually, I was not doing this. This is Gemini. I have to do that. Pardon me, I'm doing this for the first time this way. So hence, I have to figure out that nothing wrong kind of like comes in it. So the Magician means the category, like things that they're going for you, and if this relationship is ever meant to be. This talks about things that need to be glued. One significator, second significator, the energy in between, communication and sort of things. What is karma saying about it, and next steps, kind of a thing. So you have the Hermit reversed. Somebody's really feeling lonely. And then we have like Three of Cups reversed. And then we have the Emperor, which is good. Somebody's feeling solid. We have Five of Swords. Seven of Cups. Hi Myra, is it? Okay, so I don't know why that is. I can try to put it louder. Is this better now? Because I use pretty good microphone. Ooh, it's like Three of Swords, and I have Three of Wands. Let me just check the settings just to see if something is maybe going on there in audio. It's using good microphone. So I'm not so sure why that is, to be honest with you, but it's just nothing that I can see on my end, to be honest, over here. Let's see. I don't see anything in the settings about that. Video, recording, color. So guys, please, everybody tells me about this as well. I just really want to know how you're hearing me, because I do have it quite loud over here on my end, so it should be kind of like a decent sound by the settings, but I guess if you're not hearing, you're not hearing. So guys, what I'm seeing over here is look at these trees looming over here. Somebody has a broken heart over here. Like there are three trees. There's like something pushing forward, like you are trying to work through certain things out. And I think for you guys, the situation is like third party. There's like something going on, and it was like somebody whom you knew that exists, somebody that you felt you will be the one to kind of like push this forward. You will be the one where things will be happening and how like things will be happening. But almost like you have been given promises because you felt really solid. You felt like this emperor. And when the emperor shows up, it's a pretty kind of like cool thing, right? That means being in control, knowing what to do, knowing how to go about that, and so on and so forth. But what the heck happened? Because this other person feels, ooh, but I do have options. And because I have options, who cares about you? Da da da, right? And that kind of like, I think, was really confusing for you. And it almost like feels like it's really heartbreaking. You are just really grasping a whole bunch of straws. And you're saying to yourself, I need to kind of like pull myself together. Because it does feel like that somebody pulled the rug under your feet. It does feel, okay, it is good. Thanks, Alma. I really appreciate it because I would hate. I'm yelling a little bit, so hopefully that's helping as well. I don't like this. I don't really like this combination. So what's the point of being in control? I guess maybe you just like felt you have been losing it and like you just cannot put it together. You do not know how to deal with this, right? Because this card over here is talking about communication, and it's kind of like this communication is, how could you do this to me when one person wins and another two lose? And it was something really unexpected. It was like really something that you feel has been done to you, but they feel, hey, you need to see that from my point of view. You need to see what I need to do. It almost looks like they almost like come through. They want to do something for you, but it just hasn't been enough. It just doesn't work for one way, for one reason or another. But it still might go forward. And that's really interesting because there is like this huge connection that I'm picking up over here. This, in fact, almost like feels like, look, we need to go in a completely different kind of like phase. We need to do something completely new in order for things to work out, right? There's like a lots of that kind of like, you need to understand me. You need to hear what I'm saying. And that's almost like hard when there's like additional person. There's like somebody else going on and somebody's going, I don't really care. I don't want to care about your point of view. Like, what about me? And this is like what I'm hearing here in the situation. That there's like something that's a huge conflict happening over here. And the conflict is not going to be easy to resolve because it's falling both in what goes for you and what doesn't go for you. So there's like a level of me happening here. What about me? And both parties are saying, what about me? So let's see what's happening here. 10 of Wands, Strength, Queen of Swords. Yeah, me, and that's the way it's going to be. So you're like very strict. You're like taking this Queen of Swords card. It's a freaking like, I mean, important card. Six of Cups, the High Priestess. And please, this is Mercury retrograde talking, guys. So let me talk about it. And of course, it's affecting you. Knight of Swords. They are pulling swords out. You're both pulling your swords out. You might be dealing with a water sign. And look at it. It's like the water here. It's surrounded with these swords. And then we have like 9 of Cups. Maybe this is like what, Dr. orders over here, because it was about some kind of commitment. It was about secret. You may have been somebody's little secret, guys, over here, because look at the secret here, and I'm seeing the secret here, and it is about, hey, I'm really committed to you, but don't tell anybody, kind of a thing, right? And he's saying, like, I mean, W2F, right? Like, I mean, I am not going to take it. This is kind of like really ridiculous over here. You see, 9 of Swords and Queen of Swords kind of like have a similar energy. He's a little bit more forceful, but she is more powerful, and we can see that here with the Emperor over here. It's almost like that you feel that you have to completely disconnect. You need to cut every single cord, but there is going to be something that is going to ask you, hey, do you feel me? Because after all, relationships are emotional engagement, and they're like really things that we really need to do it that way. And that is really important here to understand, right? Because I feel that it's going to be a massive argument somewhere, possibly in the beginning of November, just like when we enter this Mercury retrograde. It could be about the 6th of November, plus minus like few days, right? That it can be like, I mean, hey, I want this. And you guys going to realize that you actually want exactly the same thing. Exactly the same. And that you're like basically arguing over wanting the same thing. Isn't this going to be great and silly? Certain things cannot happen overnight. And it's going to be at that point reach some kind of equilibrium. It's going to feel okay, truth kind of a thing. Let's see how do we go from here. This is that Mercury retrograde entering, when you kind of like go down into lovey-dovey, and even though you kind of like made some decision and it's a very strict decision, you're going to go back to kind of like go, well, how about this and how about that, and how was it when, back then when we did it everything. Don't fall for it. You're Gemini, right? Because you might be dealing with a water sign here, or somebody who has a really strong water in their chart, and they kind of like really easily pull into the Mercury retrograde. With us air signs, especially with you, we usually suffer technology and cars and that kind of stuff, and I'm for sure I am suffering, right, on that level. But this water person is not suffering the same way. They're like really pulling those strings, right? And this is it, like, I mean, how nice it was. Also, they could be saying, I have children, and this decision is not really easy for me to do, because look at it, from 7 to 6, like, right, like almost like stepping back a little bit, kind of like I have to take this big picture kind of like in account. And you're saying, but everything, like you said, it's going to work and we are going to move it forward. If there is not a third party over here, then I clearly see clearing the air. Or maybe you didn't reach some kind of closure, or something needs to be addressed. You kind of like really feel as a grieved party over here, that you have waited and waited and waited, and you're turning freaking gray and wrinkled waiting for somebody, right? And you're not even sure what they are doing. Almost looks like that is going to be calm before storm over here in this situation, and then it's going to be conflict. But conflict can be good and can be bad, just like anger can be good and can be bad. When is it good? It's good when you're actually accomplishing something, when you're respectful, when you don't go within, like, I mean, 2 minutes in ad hominem attacks and calling them all this and that, and you are like a jerk or that and that, right? No, you are basically holding your ground, as I can see it over here, and you're stating your vision and what you see and what you want. And the same thing, I see it here. So let me see, it's going to be some kind of truce, it's going to be clearing the air. I think this is kind of like go pretty good. But look at this, now we have another 10 of swords, and we have 2 of swords, and then 8 of wands, 7 of swords. Lots of swords, you guys are coming through. Queen of wands, they want you, they do want you, look at that. They want you, but you love them. You are telling them you love them, but at the same time you do feel betrayed. This is a difficult situation. And 3 of Pentacles. This is like so freaking difficult situation. I just finished Taurus reading before you, and it was something very similar, where, when one party really wanted and kind of like went all the way to quote unquote win or get their way, the other party was stuck wondering what the hell just happened, kind of a thing. And instead of then, like, I mean, kind of like knee-jerk reaction, just like striking it back, they did come back and say, I love you. In your case, I see this I love you coming most likely from your own mouth, but you're saying in the same sentence, or just next sentence would be, I love you, but I don't like you. Or I love you, but fill the blank. Because something has happened that kind of like made you wonder if this person is the right person for you. And keep in mind, this is only for the people who kind of like still feel, there is a special place for the ex in your heart. Because you do feel, look at this, 9, 10, and 10. You feel that something has been promised and overpromised and promised again and promised and promised and promised. And you're saying, look, I have heard that story. And I have heard that song. I know every single word. I know every single note. I am done with this. Yes, I do love you, but I also have life to live. And that life means, if this means ripping you out of my system, and you're air sign, that's when air kind of like steps in and reacts like air, because look at that. It's really heavy air over here. But then they're saying, look, I really want to be with you. I don't like this. Like the third party is like showing up so much. And like it looks like they have a pattern. They totally know what they were saying in the past, which kind of like turned you around and you came back. And it looks like the situation happened many times, and this time you are resolute, not going to happen. I don't want it to happen. But they will turn you around again. They will. This will continue, guys. It will go in this new direction. So you really have to figure out what to do with the situation. They do have something in their life that they cannot quickly make a break with this person. But there's like something that is really important. There are like two people really important in their lives. One is like that secret, and so it could be that you are the main squeeze and there is like somebody else kind of like doing, and maybe that's what's going to be the argument over that. But High Priestess sometimes can also talk about a child, and I see it here. And it could be also secret pregnancy over here, so be very careful about that as well, finding something out that, it was shocking to you. So, for example, you're dating somebody who's quote unquote separated, and like, you're being trusting and loving, and the next thing you know, their separated wife got pregnant by them. It's just like, hello, how did that happen, kind of a thing. So this guys will continue going on, but this is going to continue going on with some air cleared, but it's going to go right back, because they'll be persistent enough to kind of like keep you. But you also need to kind of like figure out how to get where you want to get without repeating the cycle over and over and over again. So my dear Gemini, please leave me a note in your comments. If you want a reading with me, please visit my website keter.ca and get some more information about significators. It always helps. And guys, that I love you. So until the next time, I think next week I'll be doing monthlies. I would gladly hear what you have to say about this reading. All the best, and I'll talk to you soon.